really caused incredible damage, and there's so much loss of life and so much harm and so much pain. We thankfully have been spared a lot of that. But at the same time as we experience that in Egypt, we also, our hearts are very much with Syria and Iraq, with our brothers and sisters, Christians and Muslims alike. The bombs don't discriminate, the bullets don't discriminate. Grieving families everywhere, and really, it's a horrible place to be. Where the Middle East is going at the moment, I don't think anyone really knows. If anyone tells you they know, challenge them to try to explain it to you, because I don't think anybody knows. I think there is a momentum that is being built up in the street. Until now, I don't refer to what happened in Egypt as a revolution. I think it's an uprising. It was an uprising of sorts, but not a revolution. We have, I think, replaced a dictatorship with a religious dictatorship, which I think it increases the complexity of the situation. That coupled with the fact that, so we have a void in Egypt of 30-year presidency that suddenly come to an end, and in the church, the late Pope Shenouda III was Pope since 1971 for 40 years. So again, that's gone. So there's a destabilizing. The process, we're in our final stages now. The process is quite a robust one for us. There is first a nomination of people to the papacy. We ended up with 17 nominations, and they are nominated by the Holy Synod and the General Lay Council. And then there is a nominations committee that scrutinizes those 17 and brings them down to a core number, which we have now, which is 5. Those 5 will go to an election on the 24th of November, and that is a representative democratic election of 12 members from every diocese around the world, as well as members of the Synod and various other classifications. So there'll be about 2,500 people voting. Those 5 will then become 3. The top 3 names are then placed on the altar. That will be on the 2nd of December. And as Father said, then there's an altar ballot. So after the liturgy, one of those names is chosen and will be the 118th Patriarch of Alexandria. So, yes, there's a lot of uncertainties, a lot of instability, but we're confident. People are confident. They're getting on with their lives. People need to keep living, and I really do think the only hope for Egypt, and indeed for Syria or anywhere else in the Middle East, is if the new governments take an active interest in building communities and building cohesive national societies, so that we don't feel like these Christians are just an add-on, they're an irritation, and getting rid of them would be, I think, more practical for everyone. And that is not the view shared by many Muslims. There are many moderate Muslims, mid-range Muslims, who are just as threatened as we are. But there is no concerted effort at the moment to actually dissolve this concept of Christian and Muslim and create nation states. And we saw wonderful scenes in Tahrir Square with the uprising, when lots of people were there flying the Egyptian flag, and they suddenly celebrated their Egyptianness, which I think they had been deprived of for decades. People will tell you that the past regime had a divide and conquer mentality of keeping people separate so that they wouldn't be able to rise up. So we're hopeful that if a new regime, a new government has the right mindset, then things will change. But we're also confident that we're in God's hands, and through your prayers, and through God's grace, and through the faith of many, many dedicated, faithful, resilient people in Egypt, then the church is there to stay as a support for the children. I'm not quite sure if most of you would have received an invitation to a service we're having at St. Margaret's Church here at Westminster on 30th of October to mark the new Coptic year, and also what's happening in Egypt.